Perfect. That was perfect. Yes, Taylor Carik, welcome.
I'm back.
Return visitor.
I love it here.
Yeah.
I jump at the chance.
Yeah, it's always fun because you're always doing
it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's talk Front Row Paul Fest.
All right.
Well, every band that plays loud and proud rock and roll in the Twin Cities is going to be there to show respect for Paul, who came to all of our shows.
Every last show.
Yeah, last year when we did a sort of party for him, at the time I said, music scenes are made by the people that show up, such as yourselves, and we appreciate you too. And Paul was there all the time, and it was great. And I often reminded him that he saw us the most out of anybody, and was up front and supported everything we wanted to do, and had questions about what was next, and just, and when he passed away, a lot of folks had said, it really, you should try and live your life like hundreds and hundreds of people are going to just be sad for weeks and weeks when you go. And I think that was a really, really cool tribute to him. And so, of course, to pay honor to his memory, a bunch of us are playing a show that Christy organized, and she put a lot of effort into getting dozens of bands to play their 15-minute
I'm using a visual, which works so well on the radio. But two single-spaced column of bands that are playing.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's 2 days at Palmer's, and we'll share some of the information. But to me, it's also one of those things that Christy put together that's like, not only is it sort of a great showcase of the rock bands in town, but it's also going to be the type of event that he has told me in the past that he loves. Yeah. Because he could just show up and he knew everybody that played, person. And he could talk to everybody all day long. And so she put one of those together, and I'm happy to try and do my little part. I'm like number 4 on the list of hosts compared to some of the bigger names on there, but it's we're really fortunate to play it. And the last thing I'll say is I had told someone this earlier this week, I truly believe it. If you go to Front Row Paul Fest, in a couple of years you'll be telling people how fun it was and how you got to hang out with all these bands, and it'll be a historic deal. And
I think so.
I think if that doesn't sell you, I don't know what can.
No. And I think because there's such an ethos, Paul was such a good connector of people too. I met so many people through Paul. Yes. So it'll be the one time where everybody's kind of in a Minnesota crowd. Yeah, people are kind of migrating 100%. To the front. Yeah. Normally we like to stand back a little bit, but Paul was never shy about that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and I think the other thing that his presence will be missed so much, because he not only did it for, he did it for decades of bands. Yeah. You know, and so it was always so exciting where if I knew a band that we had played with that hadn't met him before, I was like, this guy's a real deal. So like, you'll be seeing him around, and make sure you talk shop. And, it's, I often give Minneapolis St. Paul a really hard time for how Minnesotan it is. I was just in New Orleans for a couple days, and it's like everybody talks to each other down there, and they don't care. But up here, it can be tough. So it's going to be a huge, huge loss for someone who was so active and vocal and normal and friendly, and it was great.
Well, what's so funny is I think you can't emphasize normal enough.
Yeah,
because a lot of weirdos come up and talk to you.
For sure.
They want something.
Absolutely.
Or but Paul was just always so salt of the earth,
and he wanted to know where the next thing was, and have you heard these guys? And it was great. It was really fun to see him. We're the type of folks that'll go to more than one show. Yep. And, you'd go to one thing, and I remember just even when Surly was doing their Darkness Days last year, we had a show, and I went to go over to Surly for a little bit, see the Rumors and a couple other bands, and ran into Paul, and we left at the same time because we had to go over to Palmer's and see the same show. And, you know, it's like, that's a real rare thing and a very cool thing. And that presence is going to be missed big time. So I
often think, because he would live stream for most of the shows that he'd go to. And I'd be at home and I'd think, I'm like, oh, Paul's at the White Squirrel.
Yep.
Get my boots on. And I'd walk down there, and then, without a doubt, he'd be like, oh, where are you going next? Well, I don't know. Yep. Well, I'm going to Palmer's. You want to ride? And he lived by me, and he, you know, you'd be part of the swoop, which was a big, you know, huge honor. That you're like, oh yeah, that'd be.
Well, and you know, to 2 days of 15-minute sets from every rock band, and you know, not every rock band, but like if you go through there, there's like generations of musicians that jumped at the chance to be on this bill and you know, kind of pay their tribute to him. And so
and Paul certainly had a penchant for the rockin', the punk,
sure.
But there are as many singer-songwriters on this list.
Oh, for sure.
Well, maybe not as many, but there are quite a few, you know, that he also was super supportive of.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, he on Facebook was also, you know, very had his punk ethos going there too, and it's you know, he practiced what he preached and had radical community development, and like can't argue with it. So it's all this and more. You know, people are going to be pouring one out, and it'll be a great show, and we hope people come.
Pulling out a THC beverage for Paul.
Well, I was going to pour a shot and a beer and a THC beverage for me.
Well, I was like, I can. It's easy for me to pour out the THC. I might have the beer myself. But he'd want me to.
He would want you to, for sure.
He would want us to. Should we play one of the songs from one of the bands, and then we'll talk a little bit about
Let's do it.
Each band. Which band?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, you and I.
Which band of yours?
Oh well.
Or you choose.
There's a shift there. You got to get about something.
No, tell us.
Well, no, I was saying I appreciated you playing the Silver Teens cover, because that's like one of my all-time favorites. And then, you know, you already hit a lot of good ones so far in that first hour, but you know, and anything you got that you want to play from the lineup, go ahead. Rock and Roll Club, fine. Paris is fine.
Let's play one of those, then we'll get to talk a little bit about it after we play it.
Yeah, sure. Let's do One Mean Band from Whiskey.
Here we go. Buckle up.
You know the drill. If you're going to swear, do it now, because it won't be heard on air, but we're fine with this,
I've gotten pretty good about not swearing because of my kids. So we can't open that door at my house.
It's open at our house.
It would never close.
We sat down to breakfast this morning, and Alan's son is like, "You fucking something."
No.
I'm like, "Oh no!" And then Cashley said, "Well, Langan said it this morning."
As I said, it's an English lesson. Mm-hmm. Okay,
perfect.
As an adjective, not as a verb.
Yes.
That's what I always said to them.
Yes.
And then I knew that my Irish ex would always get the blame for all the F-bombs. It's me.
Yeah.
It's me. He's classier than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is. The older they get, I think the less you.
Yeah.
Because they know not to use the F-bomb in front of Grandma and Grandpa.
Oh, for sure. Well,
most of the time.
We don't have a lot of discernment yet, so.
Yeah, then you got.
We gotta wait till that kicks in.
Yeah. Well, by the time they're 20, they're usually.
Yeah.
If they say in front of Grandma and Grandpa, they mean
it.
They're discussing politics, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you already played a bunch of, you know.
Well, the funny thing is, usually we play maybe 18 to 20 songs each show.
Did you do Bev yet? Any Bev?
I haven't, not yet, I don't think. I think I put her on the list, but.
Yeah, she's on the list with Chasing Ghosts. We could do that.
Loving Bev these days. Sounding real good.
Yeah. And we can.
Do you play any Fret Rattles yet?
No.
But I think I put them on.
We were at that. Were you at the Rob Tasso? I forget his last name. Rob Tasso, Volva, whatever. I'm so embarrassed.
Oh yeah.
Rob. And,
I'm gonna see if I can get him back up.
He was Fret Rattles were like.
Yeah.
Made me mad. I was just like, you had a crush on it. Love to hear some of that.
She doesn't have front rows on there.
Constant Insult, New Rocket Union. Annie, did you play Annie in the Band? Yeah.
Just did. I say if you're looking for bar bands, I think this is the best lineup ever. And I'm like, obviously, I don't mean any shade by that, but
it's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, and you go through it, and you're just like, I mean, even the earlier on Sunday, it's like, Eller is on there, Twin Citizens, Dominic's Trio, Belfast Cowboys. And that's before you even get into regulars like Devaney and Katie Vernon and all those guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long couple of
Constant
days.
Insult, Rocket Union's good. Great stuff.
We have bets about
It'll be good for the bar.
About the very special guest, but we won't. If you know it, you choose to decide carefully if you want to say it while you're.
You can tell us after.
You can tell us after.
Okay. I don't need.
Write it down.
I have a guess, but I don't.
Oh, you don't need.
Well, we'll decide if it's fair to guess if none of us really know or not.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't pick Snake Farm.
Well, you guys, we got a time. Throw the Snake Farm in there.
Whiskey Rock and Roll Club, and we have Taylor Carik right here in studio.
From the club.
Yeah. Well, tell us, we have seen the band, for those who have not. Tell us a little bit. It is one of the most fun. I'll start by saying, so much fun to see, and so much energy. And
thank you.
When you do is it the December residency at Mortimer's?
At Moritz,
and it's usually, snowballing outside for at least one of them. It's the coldest day.
Could not be a worse month.
No, but it's so hot and steamy, and it's so worth getting to because of the energy. It just heats up.
Yes, for sure. Yes, we love our friends at Mortimer's. Where we actually have a pizza named after us at Moritz, the WRRC.
What's on the pizza?
Oh, all sorts of good stuff's on there. Extra cheese, garlic, extra garlic for you, pepperoni, and there's one other thing, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, it's good.
Just so long as it's not pineapple.
Well, listen, Mortimer's, they are not recognized as a pizza place.
Oh, but their pizza is so good.
But the pizza is so good, and they don't get enough credit for it. So even if it's not our pizza, people should be getting takeout pizza from Moritz. It's very good. But yeah, we're much like many of the other bands on Front Row Paul Fest. We are kind of part of this really very cool, 2020s, even before that, Minneapolis, St. Paul rock and roll scene, with the punks and the rockers and all that. And so we play a lot, and we're a bar band like a lot of these other folks. And it's really fun, and we've gotten to know most of the folks on the lineup here. And we're one of those bands that we almost say yes to everything. So, we used to have gimmicks and stuff in our shows, but everybody knows them now. So, that makes them more fun in some ways.
Right.
Versus, springing them on people. But, yeah, so it's a super fun 3-piece fuzzed out rock and roll band that people really like. We just played the Super Modified album release, and they were great. And Fret Rattle's supposed to be on that one, but they had to drop off. And New Rocket Union, incredible set. They jumped on, and they were sounding great. And it's kind of one of those things where it's we'll play with you and you'll play with us, and everybody puts different shows together. And it's if you're not a part of that comings and goings with these rock bands, you kind of don't appreciate how good some of these folks are. And so that's what really makes it exciting for us, is we'll play shows, and then you'll play with someone that you've known for a while, and they're just getting better and better and better and crushing it. And, that kind of fuels our fire to play a little harder. And then you'll see a new young band, and they'll jump on a show and they're just crushing it. And so, yeah, it's cool. It's Rock and Roll Club. We've been around for a while, but we still, if nothing else, like you've seen our shirts on like the bartenders.
On everyone in town. Everyone. I mean,
like I would say at least once a week, if not a couple times a week, we'll get people sending us photos of like, I'm at Red Rocks seeing so and so, and this lady's got a Rock and Roll Club shirt on, and you're like, how did that happen?
That's fantastic.
So yeah,
you got a lot of bands with some crossover musicians as well.
Oh yeah.
I'm leading up to Parishes here in case you were wondering where I was leaning with this.
Yes.
But I think that's fantastic too.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, poor Mark Deverage. That guy.
Is he playing in 47 or 48 of these?
He's going to have to hydrate for sure across 2 days, I think. But, Parish is a good example. So Rock and Roll Club, I'll play our 15 minutes. And then Parish is, we don't normally play that many shows.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I turned down a lot of shows because I want them to be, back to what I was saying about playing with Rock and Roll Club and saying yes to everything. Parish is the opposite. We say no to everything. And so, but, for Paul, of course, we're going to do it. Right. We have all sorts of musicians in it. We got Sally Linda from Big Salt, and we've had rotating people come in and out. So, like Pete from El Drifty, and he plays with Leslie Rich in the Rocket Soul Choir, and he's been in a ton of bands, and he plays drums or percussion with us. Sometimes we get Chris Heppola involved, and he plays with Brass Messengers or Cactus Blossoms, or he's in a bunch of different bands.
No, we spoke to him maybe fall semester, and I can't.
Was that Marsgarb?
Marsgarb?
Yeah, he plays in Marsgarb.
Winning.
Yeah, he's in Marsgarb, and he's got another project he plays in that's like a loops kind of deal. So sometimes he's playing. Charlie Milky sometimes play bass. Last year we had Liz Draper play bass for us.
Oh, Liz is another one you could just take off from there.
Oh, I mean, unreal. So, but we're gonna put together. We're looking at. I kind of just want to do one 15-minute song, and just jam it out. And
why would you not?
Yeah,
I mean that seems absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Chris Cook, Ted Welter, a couple other folks sometimes sit in with us, and they're all super talented musicians, and it's really refreshing to have them come in and play, and it really is like a product of us all having met at other shows, and like our bands playing together and getting to know each other because you're just hanging out all night. So yeah, really really emblematic of kind of what the event is about. And there's several folks who are playing more than one set because there are more than one band, and yeah, so that's very cool. And it's one of those things where, again, Paul would go see everyone's bands. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going for the one big show that's whatever. It's more like I'll go to, oh, you got a new thing with these guys? Let's check it out. Great. Yeah. So, yeah.
I had a quick look to see the lineup if you would have time to change wardrobe between sets because they're such different music. I picture
Andy Holmes from Rock and Roll Club. He does wardrobe change all the time.
Yes,
and it's whether or not it's a tank top or a sleeveless tee or whatever. Maybe he'll be shirtless for this one. Who knows? So,
should we play some Parishes?
Oh, sure.
All right, let's do it. I'm gonna take a second to say Parishes because we have one of the parishes right here.
We do,
in the studio, Taylor Carik, on Mostly Minnesota Music on WMCN 91.7 FM in St. Paul. All right, here we go. I gotta get that in every now and again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that was about time.
Yeah, you don't want those studio heads coming down on you.
There was one when we came back after one semester, and I think I forgot it for the whole show. Would you like that? You could get fined for that kind of stuff. Yeah. Not here. I mean, you'd be like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Take away my birthday? But I do try to remember.
Betty White. Betty White. All-time
Yeah, we likely will have a parish show coming up in Minneapolis, and then Liz and I are trying to figure out something for Mankato.
Oh, nice.
Down in North Mankato.
Nice. Once you said her name, she's doing some at Walker West. They had a free Jazz for Women class today, and I posted it wherever I could, and I'm like, is it okay for voyeurs to come? And she's like, that'd be great. Tag someone who never got back, which is fine, because then I ended up at the Capitol anyway.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I was like, I would love to sit in on something like that, and that would be
what a powerhouse. And one of the things too about like everybody's got different bands and playing different things, and like Christie's a really good example where it's like whoever's playing what is what makes up the band.
Yeah.
And I really am like, especially coming back from New Orleans, which is not a fair comparison, but like, it's like that's if you had someone visiting, you would tell them to go see that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Go see parishes, go see whatever Costello.
Permutation.
Yeah, whatever that's going to be. I mean, any of these, you go to, you've seen us at Dusty's, and it's like, all right, just go whatever. Whoever's in there, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, Mort's is like that too.
Yeah.
But.
No, it's good. The kid is in New Orleans this week.
For Jazz Fest?
Not on purpose.
For New Orleans tomorrow for work. Everyone's in New Orleans.
She just loves New Orleans.
You gotta go now before it gets hot, I guess. I talked to a guy and he's like, you don't want to be down here a month from now. And I was like, okay.
We went a couple of years ago. It must have been like 2021. And being fair, there was a hurricane like the day before we got there. And we had gone to Austin, Texas, and then we were driving. And I was like, ooh, we're going to spend some time in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are these places so cheap in New Orleans? Well, because middle of hurricane.
Yeah. They just got to get the bodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize like how much tourism for certain sections of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
And,
I was like, oh yeah, I forget about that. It's like,
I still have never been.
What?
It's on my list. I won't travel.
That's bullshit.
I do Vegas and I do Chicago. That is it.
Betty White by Parishes.
Yes,
Who we have in studio? Yes, yeah. I love that song. I love the vibe of it. I love that. Well, and if you were listening over the radio, which means you can see the campus. You didn't hear this, but we were talking about you were just recently in New Orleans, because all of the parishes. I'm always like, yeah, this feels like it's that slower.
We try to slow it down and
swampy.
make it sound like you're in a basement.
Yep. Well, and I think the first time, certainly, and I'm trying to remember if you guys played, but you had all the videos come out when that basement underneath.
Yeah.
What is it?
Modus Locus.
Modus Locus, yeah. That was a good...
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's the type of thing where we try to, have special one-off shows.
Yeah.
And it's also a lot to coordinate, like a one-off kind of deal, So, even all these bar bands for Front Row Paul Fest, it's like you can do it, you can coordinate this. It's certainly not easy, and Christy's doing a lot of the Lord's work here.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
But a lot of these folks, you can tell them to show up, and we know the drill.
Right.
This is not our 1000th rodeo. It's
no. Well, no, and if somebody can't show up last minute, somebody can step in.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there is a power to if you've got 50 bands on the bill, and most of them know. Yeah. Each of them know 25% of the people.
Yes, just show up.
I mean, just that mix.
Yeah, for sure.
And I say this with tongue in cheek. I imagine the green room will be awesome there.
Well, I don't know that there's going to be much green room.
Well, that's what I say. I with tongue in cheek. The green room will be right there on the patio.
I think the patio will be great. I think out front will be great. I think if anybody can fit upstairs from the bands, that'll be fun for the bands.
Yeah.
The bar will be packed, and yeah, it'll be good. The funny thing too about a show like this, and again, going back to talking about Paul, is like, it's one of those things where, if you get there early, it'll be fun and it'll be a chill vibe. And if you hang out long enough, it's going to get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And that's also super fun and with a different vibe. And so, the beauty of Palmer's for these type of shows is like, go kick it on the patio at the West Bank and feel like you're in a real city for once. And then, and then you'll be able to hang out as long as you want, and you'll be outside and there's space. And then everybody moves inside and it gets real fun.
Yeah.
So, if you're there till close, good luck. But it's a great time, and we strongly encourage everyone to show up for it.
I had to invoke Paul recently for one of the marches I was planning, and we were planning for 10,000 people, 40,000 people to show up. People are complaining that they couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, take a page out of Front Row Paul's book. You want to hear the band? Show up on time.
Yeah, get there on
time.
Get there
early.
And
get
there
a good
early. Spot. Yeah.
Otherwise, just enjoy the vibe.
Yeah.
Enjoy the vibe.
Absolutely.
Enjoy what you can.
Absolutely.
And just think that. But that's such a nice nod to Paul, because it's not easy to show up early all the time.
Absolutely. I had my mental list of things I also wanted to say as like a tribute, and the other thing, like, you hear bands say this like all the time, and it's like cliche at this point, but it's true. In our streaming world, it's really hard to support bands because you want to buy their music and you want to buy all this stuff, and like, I think he had every one of the shirts that we put out.
Oh, man.
Yes.
And so it's one of those things too where come to Front Row Paul Fest for sure, but also like take a minute and buy a shirt from one of the bands, and then people recognize it and think you're cool. So
exactly,
we just were at swim lessons the other day, and my Spit Take shirt shrunk, and so I gave it to my 10-year-old son, and we were walking out, and one of the swim instructors had like dyed hair and piercings and stuff, and was just like, is that a Spit Take shirt? What's going on? I was like, that could be you if you buy the merch of the bands from around town. So, yeah.
And there will be plenty of it to buy at Front Row Paul Fest.
Well, and I think there's nothing better than wearing a local shirt and then wearing it out of town.
Oh, for sure.
And people will ask you about,
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's a great way to spread the word.
Absolutely.
Also a good way to connect with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being out of town at a different festival or show, and someone sees your shirt, you can talk about that local band that you both love, and now you have a new friend.
Yes, 100%.
That is what all the Minnesotans need.
They do.
Talk to me.
Right.
Talk to me. I know.
Yes.
I know Whiskey Rock and Roll Club.
Yes.
Talk to me. But we do.
Yeah.
I mean, that we've got,
Yeah. Get an Annie and the Bang Bang shirt.
Yes.
Wear it around.
Yeah. Well, and some are so clever that they're just amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. I'm just thinking about all the things about Paul that I'm.
Yeah.
One of the. You picture yourself at the White Squirrel.
Yeah.
And they've got that wall.
Yeah.
And that's where I would always go, and I would see Paul sitting there, which meant I could always weasel my way out front. For sure. They took down the wall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it gives the place a lot more space. But I'm like, okay, now, I mean, I will still think about him every time I'm there.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm like, well, I can quit looking for him.
Oh, yeah.
He's just someone that you're like, I love seeing him today. And you miss him a lot.
Yeah. So recently, speaking of like cross-pollination, so Sally Linda from Big Salt, tremendous talent.
Yes.
She was doing the opening spot for the last day of Venus to Mars acoustic residency at 331. And so Pete and Charlie Milkey and I backed her up. Huge honor to do it. And we were playing, and it was one of those deals where it was like we were all, it was still a little fresh, but we were all really sad because it was like, he would have been right there.
Yep.
And, streaming this, and it would have been great. And, it will definitely take a while, I think, for that to sink in for people to.
But in the same, it's nice to be remembered.
Oh, for sure.
And it's nice to have a good memory of somebody, even though it makes you a little sad. You're like, oh, just thankful I knew him.
Yes, 100%.
I think we all feel that.
Yes.
As you say, live your life like hundreds of people are going to be sad when you're gone.
Unbelievable, yeah. And be looking for you.
Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, and I had this conversation with someone the other day, too, about how, part of the beauty of Minneapolis music for how it is right now is like we can always count on one or two people that we know showing up that aren't going to be your friends or family. Right. And it's like, in other cities, probably more than that, so that's fair. But it's like, I told a musician the other day, like, I have to remind some of my good friends that I'm in a band. But I don't have to remind other bands about that. Right. Because they know, and they're going to show up and play and support us and buy our shirts and all of that. So, yeah, it's a very cool thing, and he was very emblematic of that whole thing. I mean, at least Paul will show up,
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, as I said, for me, if I knew he was going to be there, it would make it easier to go. Yeah. I'm happy to go places by myself, but there were certain places for sure. Yeah. You want to have a friend. Yes. Some places 100%. I love dive bar. Some dive bars are a little divier than I maybe want to be by myself at.
Or busier shows, too. Yeah. You can go to a busy show and stand there and whatever. But if you know someone and you can just stand next to them and whatever, that's great too. Yeah. Yeah.
Should we play another song?
Let's do it.
You want to pick something, or we want to?
Well, you've already hit a lot of highlights for me. Did we do Annie and the Bang Bang yet?
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Did we do?
I'm gonna hand you the list because you're just going off memory there.
Oh well, let's give a shout out to our friends in the Heavy Sixers. Do you have that?
I think we already.
Did we play that one here?
Oh man, I don't know, but let's do another one from the Heavy Sixers. Okay. Any particular song?
Oh no, they're all good.
They're all good. All right.
That's not helpful at all. All right, let's do Outside.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Palm Fest. All right. Yeah. Yes. All right. Outside. Heavy Sixers.
I had said Bev.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can do. We've got time. It's only. Yeah. I mean. I haven't seen Bev play in a while. Sometimes I run into Nick at the grocery store.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. There's one grocery store in St. Paul where everybody shops.
That's great.
All the telecom lobbyists, all the musicians.
No. A lot of good ones on here. They took the wall out at the White Squirrel, huh?
Yeah.
They still have those tables over there then?
Yeah, I think they should add a few more now that that's open. Yeah. They just did it. I think it was there like on Sunday night, and I show up on Tuesday or Wednesday, not to out myself totally. Yeah. I was the bartender's like walk over there, walk over there, and they just did it overnight. Oh. It's when you walk in, you're like, that's weird, but it's the kind of thing that the second time you'll be like, yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, so this would have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We played there with Big Salt and Badman. Was that song? Yeah, it was because, yes. And so we played first, and then Big Salt played with, Maida was playing guitar for them.
Oh my God, she's so good.
Badman was going to play, and I left at the end, like there was 2 songs left from Big Salt, because I went outside to cool off, and I couldn't get back in. Because it was like, literally, like, you couldn't get back in. Yeah. And so freeing that up a little bit would probably help.
I think
some of that. Get a little more capacity.
Well, and then get rid of some of those tables, and they need a little space for people to put their equipment.
Yes, for sure.
I'll just put that in their suggestion box. They're always asking it.
Well, they know.
And how can we make it better?
They know. They just got to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, and there's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
You don't want to run out of beer, but someone's got a place for the base.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I like that word squirrel. You know, you should do you don't have to, it's just a suggestion, but I would be very curious for a mostly Minnesota, like, or even this show or whatever, for you all to come up with kind of like the new landscape kind of breakdown, you know, because we got Berlin and we got Zora Darling.
Oh. That was the Heavy Sixers.
Yes, it was.
Got Taylor Carik in studio, telling us what we should do. But it was a good idea. It was a good idea, though. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about different venues around town, and we don't have to think about that.
Yeah,
it's a totally different scene, you know. I mean,
and I feel like it still changes every week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you were just talking about the wall getting removed at White Squirrel, and you know, I think back to about, you know, 2020, end of 2021, beginning 2022, where like we're kind of coming back from pandemic a little bit. And, you know, before the pandemic, we didn't, you know, maybe my history's a little off, but like we didn't have Cloudland, and we didn't have Zora Darling, and we didn't have Berlin, and you know, there's been a few different changes, and we still have them, you know.
Yeah.
I always remind people, like, Amsterdam is still cool. You can 100%. Still go there and see shows there.
And now you have Pillar Forum, you have Flying
Pillar's
V.
super fun. Yeah,
Pillar's my new favorite. Underground Music Cafe and Venue. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, yeah.
I've got a summer plan for us now. I mean, I think that would be really, Yeah,
it's just it's an interesting, because there's, like, I have not been to Berlin yet, but I've been to a couple of the other ones, and it's like, oh, yeah. Things change, and that's cool. But I feel like maybe there's a couple other ones I don't know about. So
there are a lot of underground places that I think are super interesting, and I've talked to some of the folks who organize them, own them, however you want to manage them, and there's a gray area between getting the word out and putting the address out.
Yes,
you know, and there's that land of you got to know if you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, but I still think
that's like every Mary Jam show I see. You know, it's like, where's Mary Jam playing? Some basement I never heard of, and it sounds incredible.
Right.
And there's no address, so they don't want me there. And I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah, when it says you need to know someone asks for an address, I assume I'm too old and I'm not going to make it to the show. It's fine.
Yeah.
But then you have a place like Flying V that I feel like kind of started out like that. And now they're a legit venue, and I drove by last night, and there were just kids streaming out of this house. It was awesome.
Yeah,
so,
it's great.
Yeah.
Give me 40 more of those.
We might have to find an intern.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Check out some of these places.
You gotta plug one of these intrepid WMCN kids.
Yeah.
And set them on the beat.
Yeah. A lot of these places, you wouldn't even have to buy them beer. They can't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I do think, I mean...
Well, they don't drink anyway, the young people.
No, they don't. I mean, some do, some don't. It's really a different world.
Yeah.
A different world. But it is amazing how... things have and then just throwing it back to Paul, he works at the Longhorn.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
Oh
no,
I mean, legendary. You know, Engelbrecht
Pre-First Avenue.
Yeah, Mark did that documentary about it, Jay's Longhorn, and they premiered it like a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever, and it was like a legendary downtown venue that like it's funny about those things, because I always tell people that, like, just wait 10 more years and then someone's going to do a documentary about Palmer's like that. And it's going to be,
I might know someone who's kind of working on something like that, but I won't say anything. But let's just say it's going to be good, because that one has been around.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay's Longhorn, that predates even me.
Yeah.
So imagine that.
Yeah.
But Palmer's has been...
Oh.
I mean, I guess I can remember going there underage, which means it's pretty damn old.
Yeah.
It's more than 7 years old.
Yes.
I mean, I think, like, I can remember locking keys in the car when I was maybe in high school, and then I had to call my dad at midnight to pick me up, and he's like, great. Just tell me you weren't at, there's a different place. It wasn't Palmer's, but somebody just tell me you weren't at the Cedar Inn or something like that. I was like, what? I was at Danny's Parlor, Dad. I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. You know, but yeah, I mean, the scene at the West Bank, but then.
Oh, for sure.
And there are just places, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We could go on and on and on about that, but yeah, you know, that's one of the things about Paul too that was like really interesting about, like I mentioned earlier, about just generations of musicians, and you know, Hipsters is on here, yes. And you know, he knew all those guys from work back in the day, and then he just kept going to shows and never stopped. So then he just saw generations of musicians, and you know, got to know all of them, and even some of the younger ones that are coming up today, like the Shacks, and you know, got to be really good friends with them, and so yeah, it's just it was a real establishment. Very cool.
Absolutely. Should we play some more music?
Yeah, for sure.
Dealer's choice, Taylor.
Well, I was looking at my thing here. I love all my children equally, but I would like to hear some Bev if you have it.
Okay.
I'm such a huge fan of Bev.
Yeah. How about we do Chasing Ghosts?
Yep.
All right. Sold. That was easy.
Awesome. Chasing Ghosts by Bev.
Yep.
I always would tell my kids, I do have a favorite, but it's a rotating position.
Yes. It changes.
Which it's
depending on the day. For sure.
Oh, an hour sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I never saw the Jay's Longhorn documentary. It's like
no, I don't think I have.
Yeah, that's where all those guys used to play when they were kids, like the Replacements.
Okay.
They'd sneak Perner in there, and, you know, stuff like that.
Goofy's Upper Deck, I kind of remember, and I wouldn't have been old enough to get in there. There's Goofy, and then there was
Moby Dick's.
And some I went into, and some I
mean, I didn't move here until 2007.
Yeah, see.
So I think I know a little
No,
bit.
these are all like 80s bars, like Rifle Sport and all that.
No, I saw Rifle Sport plenty of time. I mean, yeah, that would be. I'm just.
Yeah.
That much, you know. Yeah. Although I think of how old I was when I started going to bars.
Oh yeah.
21, absolutely. Yeah. Need be.
Yeah. Sorry, Amsterdam. Celebrating my 21st birthday after drinking there for about 4 years.
I was just talking to someone about we were sitting around outside when it was nice out about a month ago, and someone's like 12-year-old daughter, 13-year-old daughter was there, and she was hanging out, and we were talking about what we did on our 21st birthdays, and you know, you can't do power hours anymore. They like won't serve you,
right?
So they like got rid of all that. So we were explaining what that was, and then the funny thing was I was like, I didn't do anything because like we'd already been going to bars when we weren't supposed to,
right?
But like, you know, we would just go drink and visit, and then we'd go home.
That was... I would always drive, and I wouldn't drink. I mean, that was my...
Oh, no, we're done. That was quick.
That was Bev on Mostly Minnesota Music on WMCN 91.7 in St. Paul. Lovely song, as jointly selected by Langan and Taylor.
Yeah, nice I gotta pay tribute to Bev, one of the greats.
Absolutely.
I know, and one of, do you know how many bands? I mean, I could count that out, but it's got to be 40. It's got to be 40
it's
bands.
Too many to count, for
Definitely, maybe 50 bands.
I think it's 50-something. But yeah, you know, it's, again, like we've been saying for the last hour, it's a testament to Paul, front row Paul, who is just sort of the patron saint of the bar scene, bar rock scene here, and with the punks and the singer-songwriters, and he just showed up to everything and will be greatly, greatly missed. And our 15 minutes of music here as a tribute is fitting to see this many people show up.
Well, yeah, you probably know more about the logistics. It starts outside and moves inside.
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes. Let us.
Well, there's a couple.
You know.
There's a couple folks that'll play throughout the day. They'll kick it inside.
Okay.
Like I think Jim Walsh will be playing inside for a little bit. But typically at Palmer's, it starts outside. You get more capacity. People can hang out because it's nice out. And then towards the end of the night, people file into the bar. You still hang out on the patio. It's just the music hits the corner stage. So typically that happens around 10 o'clock. And so you can see, for those of you that are still on Facebook, or if you go to the Palmer's website, you can see all the lineup of the bands that are playing. It's a very, very robust lineup.
Yeah.
People be playing really quick, energetic sets, and I'm sure we'll all be sharing a few words, and people will be moving gear in and out all day, all night, and John Clifford's going to be hosting, and Lori B is going to be hosting, and Claire from Silent Treatment's going to be hosting, and I'll fill in as needed. I'm sure other people will fill in as needed too.
Yeah, even just to MC something like that, to host it, that's a lot of work.
Poor Tom, the sound guy's going to have to bring his army of sound engineers in there, but good for him. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't want to, try and oversell it, because the people who know about your show know that this is a big deal and they should come and show up and support not only the community, but also the, pay tribute to Paul and what he meant to everybody. It's going to be a super fun, rocking time.
Well, and an amazing kickoff to summer.
Oh, for sure. It's
now
time.
that I say that out loud, I realize that it's going to be the same day as Grand Old Day in St. Paul.
Okay.
I might have to make some choices. It might not be that hard.
I don't think it'd be that hard.
No. If I walk from my house to Palmer's, I'll still get my steps in. So I'm all good. I'm all good. Sure. Yeah. No, I think it'll be.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And I think we'll hear stories about people.
Oh yeah.
Have a Paul and.
I mean, with it starting at noon on Saturday and Sunday, you could come to this show.
Yeah.
Go to Grand Old Day. Go do your shopping. Come back. People will still be playing.
Yeah. Still be playing. I think that.
Or you could commit to all day, both days.
All day,
be a
both
trooper.
Days, exactly.
I know that's what I'll be doing. So commit.
I
with
will
me.
show up a little later and I'll bring some sunscreen.
I will pick you up and we will be there all day, both days.
Okay. Well, that'll be the weekend after we're in Las Vegas, so we might be in good practice.
Yes.
As long as you can make it to 7:40 for Cindy Lawson.
Yes.
You're in good shape.
Yes.
We play right after, but yeah.
That'll be will most people bring the whole drum kit and everything?
Oh, we're all sharing a drum kit.
Oh, good. I was like, oh my God, are you guys what?
Nobody's bringing anything
what?
in it. It's already a tight space. Nobody's bringing any of that stuff.
Everybody bring a kazoo. We're doing something a little different this time.
That's exactly right. Yep. It's going to be a lot of, hey, come up here and you hand them whatever. That mic is on. Go for it.
Exactly. Well, you know what's nice, and again, a bittersweet thought is that we've had some practice for this because there have been a couple of Palm Fests in the past.
Yes, for sure. We were very fortunate.
Yeah.
To play with Shax 2 years ago, last year. It's funny, I have that poster hanging up in my garage because it was such a cool thing. And it's again, we all try our best to give people their recognition when we can, but when someone passes away quickly like this, it's like, all right, we're all showing up in force, and we hope that other people will come and pay their respects too. Yeah,
give everybody a chance to. Paul was really good about. It was very quick.
Yeah.
He had a few weeks. And really that was about it.
Yeah.
But man, he was effusive those weeks.
Absolutely.
So I was lucky enough to see him a few times.
Absolutely.
But you're like, yeah.
Yeah, one other thing I want to make sure I mention is that, Andy Holmes really worked really hard to channel everybody's sadness and frustration and grief into a fundraiser through Front Row Paul shirts.
Yeah.
So you're going to be seeing a lot of those at the show. I've seen lots of them. at shows already. He worked really hard to help, kind of help raise money and give everybody kind of an outlet for that. Yes. And it went really well. And Rock and Roll Club helped support all that, and people that we play with help support that. And so we all kind of pitched in on it. Yeah. And, that's, expect to see that too. And, it's one of those things where even if you didn't know Paul or meet him, like, you're going to want to be a part of this kind of thing, show up. And,
just say, you'll remember it years from now.
Yeah, you went to it and you participated for sure.
If you got one more band you'd like us to play?
Oh my gosh, do we have Constant Insult here?
We can, if you stall for a second.
Okay, I'm a huge fan. It's really hard to pick because you start at noon and you just have all these great groups that are on here. I mean, bands you maybe haven't even heard before but are fantastic. Like, I want to shout out Sidewalk Diamonds. Doug Collin and the Receptionists have played every venue, and they're fantastic. And Paul's friend Robert Wilkinson, that's going to be something you want to... This block from 4 to 5 with Robert and Faith Boblet, who he played, and then Zeppo would do a couple songs, and you don't want to miss that.
What song from Constant Insult did you want to hear?
Just whatever's at the top.
Oh, I'm going to play Sir Dog because I like the name of that one. Yes, so let's do Sir Dog from Constant Insult. I wanted to make sure it was the right Constant Insult.
Yeah, sometimes.
There's like 3 of them.
Yeah.
I think this is the right.
If it's not, they got to get their shit
No, this is right one.
Yeah.
Well, Katie Thornton.
After this, we're nearly done.
Yeah.
We'll say a quick wrap up and then
close out with
awesome
Shackletons.
Yeah.
That's a quick one.
Yeah. You gotta help me remember which ones we've played. Not so I don't care so much for Spotify, but for Spinatron.
Yeah.
Where people get their 0.2 cents for.
Yeah.
But that's better than what they get for Spotify. But the Spinatron is the radio flavor.
Well, I get because I get the Bandcamp and Spotify, and there's one other one that I get too. I forget whatever the distribution channel.
It might be Spinatron because that's what I've got to put it. That's why this is
It might be that one, and it's like it's a constant insult. It really is. It's just like, yeah. You had 12 plays.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But, it is my new goal for. It's probably not going to happen this year yet. Carl T. Swanson invited me to the music summit thing that's happening at Green Room. Whatever that is. And I probably can't go the whole day because Aaron has to work, but the one thing that killed me about several things killed me about going to New Orleans, but the one that killed me about New Orleans was like you walk around and like every other block it's like here's a mural of a random New Orleans musician. Here's a mural of a random New Orleans musician. Here's Louis Armstrong. Here's whoever. Here's another guy you never heard of. Here's Carl Weathers, just cuz.
Yeah.
Here's Divine, just cuz. And here it's like everybody's got to have like a committee that reports to a department for whatever. And I was like, let's get Paul a mural somewhere. Let's get Venus de Mars a mural somewhere. Let's get Cornbread a mural somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's get, Tommy Stinson should have a mural. It's crazy.
That's where I wonder if the Chromazona, the ones who do the murals,
Midway-ish,
wherever, the industrial section. I wonder. No, that's for the artists. But if you could work.
Yeah. So I don't know how that all works, or where you'd even put them, because nobody walks around here. But like,
do it like Northern Ireland, side of people's homes.
Yeah, and just like
theirs are much flatter.
Yes.
That was Constant Insult
with Sir Dog.
Yes. Our time is just about ending, so what are you looking forward to most, Taylor, about the show?
Oh, jeez.
I know, that's a terrible question.
Well, you know, I think if you ask my wife what one of my favorite things in the world is, it's just like going to hang out at Palmer's.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just going to hang out is going to be great, but also just getting to visit and see what people are working on. And I think you're right. Kickoff to summer is a good way to approach it and kind of get your head right for how you can go out and see and support all the musicians. You know, the whole thing with Paul is it's about showing up and supporting the scene. And if you can just do your little part, we're all going to be a little better off for that. So don't wait till it's all gone.
Right.
Go to the show now.
Right.
Do it now. Remember COVID when you said you
you would do anything.
This is the show you wish you could have gone to.
Yes.
So go do it.
Yes.
And remind us again when it is. Can people get tickets ahead of time?
Absolutely. Well, it's May 31st, Saturday and Sunday. Starts at noon, goes all day inside and out at Palmer's on the West Bank on Cedar Avenue. Check out the website for more information. I should have looked up the ticket info and I didn't, but
I don't think there are. I have looked, there have not been tickets that you can. It might be a come as you are.
Yeah, okay. You just got to show up.
Yeah.
See how full it is. You're going to be able to get in.
Even if it's full, shimmy on in and get outside to the patio. You're not going to need to worry
about it being full.
Walk in backwards.
You get there. You get there. It'll be just fine.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy to have you, and I'll buy you a drink. So come on in. We'll have a good time and pay tribute to one of the all-time greats.
Nice. I will give one last shout out to another event that we've been talking a little bit about is the Fight for Your Civil Rights, because this is through the Minnesota Music Resistance, and this was really a brainchild of Paul's. So that is happening. It's a benefit for the ACLU of Minnesota. Bunch of bands playing. It's got the Hook and Ladder. It's on, again, June 22nd from 2 to 7:30. We've got Ganser, too many to list at this point because I've already mentioned them today, but I think that will be a good, and it is really a testament. The Minnesota Music Resistance is a group that Paul started, and we're forging ahead in his honor.
That's great.
And you have one more?
Oh, I just wanted to say, if you want a pre-party for the Front Row Palm Fest, Whiskey Rock and Roll Club is playing with the legendary Cindy Lawson at the Schooner on May 9th. It's a free show, and it's not that late, so no excuses. We'll see you there.
Nice. And now we're just going to kind of, I'm looking at the time. Yeah. I'm going to thank folks for listening to Mostly Minnesota Music on WNCN.
I thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. You have done, yes. And I'm going to thank Langen. Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you, Taylor, for spending some time with us.
Always a pleasure.
So much fun. Yes. All right, at that, we won't be back until summer. This is the last show of the semester.
Yeah.
That's okay. We can see some live music during the day, so we're a little excited about that. There's just only one song we could leave off with. So what are we going to listen to here?
Let's do Front Row Paul from the Shackleton.
Nobody gets in front of Front Row Paul.
No way.